Welcome, mamas. This is a gentle flow. So we won't necessarily be doing a traditional vinyasa style flow sequence, but we will be exploring a lot of circular and wave type movements throughout the practice. And this is not only to increase circulation throughout your body, but it's also an invitation to tap into the feminine essence of fluidity. So I'll give you a lot of opportunities to connect with your baby by syncing your breath and your movement. And I really encourage you to try to move as freely and playfully as possible. And hopefully you'll leave the practice feeling relaxed and light. So if you practiced with me before, you know that I love props. You don't necessarily need props for this practice today, but I have 2 blocks and a bolster. Especially as the belly grows, it's nice to just have some extra support. And we will be doing a side lying shavasana, especially if you're further along. So if you know that you like to have a pillow or a bolster between your legs, it's handy to have that as well. And I won't be playing music for the class today, but if you like to practice to music, it can be a great practice to turn on your favorite flowing playlist and just drop in. So let's come to a comfortable seat to start. We'll close our eyes. You can either rest your hands into your lap, or if you wanted to bring your hands to your belly to connect with your baby, you can do that as well. Begin to deepen your breath. And to start feeling the natural ebb and flow of your breath, moving in and out through your nostrils. Feeling the rise and the fall of your diaphragm. And the expansion and contraction through the sides of the ribs and the torso. And feeling the spine lengthen towards the sky as the bowl of the pelvis roots down towards the earth. Taking a moment here to just honor the beauty of being a portal for life at this time. Taking a moment to connect with your baby. You can internally send a hello or an intention or a blessing to the spirit of the child within. And if you'd like to keep your eyes closed, I find it's a nice way to connect more intuitively with how my body wants to move. But if you feel more comfortable opening your eyes, you can do that as well. So I'm starting with my right ankle in front of my left. Doesn't matter which one you start with, but just kind of take a mental note here so that we can balance out from side to side. We'll bring our hands to our knees. We're going to start with some Sufi grinds. So as you inhale, moving over to the right, coming forward. And as you exhale, rounding through the upper back, leaning back and moving around. So just circular movements with the spine. One of my favorite visuals for this movement is like your spine being a big wooden spoon in a cauldron of the pelvis, and just moving and circulating any stagnation within the lower back and throughout the entire hip and pelvic region. And so even here, start to feel into whatever feels best for you today as far as the tempo and the pace that you're moving at. Some days it might feel nice to go really slow, and other days it might be more serving to you to move fast. You can also play and do a little bit of both. Allowing your upper body and your chest and your shoulders, maybe even your head and your neck to be involved in the movement. It's also a great way to warm up the entire spine. Good, we'll do about 3 more circles in this direction. And then bringing it back through neutral spine. And so I have my right ankle in front. We're going to take more of a Sukhasana if you're not already there. So shin in front of shin, ankles under knees. So if you look down between your legs, you almost have a triangular shape between the legs. And then inhale to sit up nice and tall. And exhale, start to walk yourself slightly forward, folding as much as you comfortably can. Think of drawing the outer hips back and the chest and the heart forward. And then you can either stay here in a forward fold, or if you'd like to get into the sides a little bit, whatever foot is in front, so my right leg and foot is in front, you're gonna walk to the opposite side. So I'm gonna walk over to the left with my hands and my upper body. Inhale to lengthen, draw the outer hip down on the opposite side, and then maybe exhale to fold if you have the space to do so. Taking about 3 deep breaths here. And then wherever you are, inhale to rise up and come back through center. So we'll switch the cross of the legs. Opposite ankle in front, bringing your hands to your knees. So now I'm left side in front, and so I'm going to move to the left to circulate. So as you inhale, hands to your knees, bringing your torso to the left, bring it forward and all the way around as you exhale. And again, if it feels good to close your eyes, to really sink into this movement with your breath, I find it feels really nice. And allow it to be as fluid and free as possible. So find a sense of softness through the spine and allow the entire body to be involved in the movement. And just like we did on the other side, if you'd like to play with speed, tempo, go ahead and see how that feels. Otherwise, just finding a nice pace to continue flowing for about 3 more circles. And completing your last round, we will come back through center. And then we're going to take more Sukhasana style seat. So crossing shin in front of shin, ankles under knees. I find for this one, if I'm sitting up on a bolster, it actually feels better to come to the ground. You're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, fold forward as much as you comfortably can. Once you find your spot, reach the outer hips back, grounding the sits bones towards the ground, and then inhale the heart forward, slide the shoulders down the back, and tuck your chin slightly just so that your neck is long. And then you can either stay in your forward fold, or if you want to walk towards the opposite side of your front leg, you can do that for a gentle side stretch. And on your next inhale, rising up, coming through center. And then bring your hands to your knees. We're going to do a few shoulder rolls. Inhale the shoulders up and forward towards the ears, and back and down. Do a couple rounds like that. Inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale them back and down. And then we'll reverse directions. So next inhale, you go back, up, exhale, forward and down. Go ahead and release that. We're going to inhale, circle the arms all the way up to the side. And then exhale, hands through center. We'll do a few just like that. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands down through center. I like to think of just clearing the field around me as I do this. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, drawing it in. The last one, inhale, circle the arms. And exhale through center. And then once you come through center, you're going to bring your hands through prayer. And like, how do I explain this? You're going to bring your fingers forward, and then turn your palms down so the thumbs are touching, palms are facing down, and then you're going to bring the tops of the hands, the backs of the hands to touch, and circle the fingers towards the chest. You're going to do like wrist rolls and create little circles here. So the heels of the hands, the thumbs touch, palms down. Point your fingers, tops of the hands, and the palms or the fingers face forward towards you. Doing a couple rounds like that. This can be really nice if you sit at a computer or a desk a lot throughout your day, or even if you're on your device. Or even if you're carrying or holding another toddler or child. Okay, then we'll go the opposite way. So then drawing in and down. Do one more round like that. Good, and we'll release that. Extend your legs forward into like a V stance. We're just gonna roll the ankles. You can scrunch the toes as you do that. Really flex through the feet as you come around, reaching through the heels, and point through your toes as you roll them forward. And then reverse directions. Then go ahead and just shake that out a little bit. You can feel nice to rub your hands up and down your legs, or even make fists, and just tap the outer legs, come up and tap the top, and then come back up through the inseam. And then we're going to come 90 to 90 in the legs. So you're going to bend your knees. You can reach your hands behind you. And we're going to windshield wiper the legs. So as you inhale here through center, get nice and tall through the spine. And then exhale, knees over to one side. And you can look over the opposite shoulder if that feels good. And then we'll inhale through center. And exhale the other direction. So you can hang out for a few breaths on either side if that feels good, or if you'd prefer to sync your breath and your movement and make it a nice smooth flow, you can do that as well. It's going to be a really nice way to relieve any tension in the lower back. Just create some movement through the hips. Good, we'll do one more time each side. And then from here, you'll inhale through center. And then I'm going to take my left leg into half hero's pose. So you're going to bend your knee and bring the top of the foot to the mat. And the outer ankle is towards the outer hip. And then the right knee is going to come into like a half Baddha Konasana or butterflies posture. And then from here, we're going to flow with a side stretch and also a front body stretch. So left hand's going to come down. Inhale the right arm all the way up and over, getting a stretch through your right side body. And then inhale, rise up. Bring your right hand behind you, press into the legs, and lift the hips, reaching the left arm up and back. Good, exhale to release. And then inhale, left arm down. Exhale, right arm over, stretching through the right side. And flowing there, inhale to come up. Exhale the hand down, press into the legs, lift the hips, and lean back. Good, finding your flow, your pace. We'll do about 3 just like that. And again, it might feel nice to close your eyes and just let your breath and your body take over, moving however feels good. Almost finding this like inner dance with your body and your baby. Especially if you're planning a labor and delivery where you have the freedom and flexibility to move. It's just great to practice tapping in and moving in any way that feels good in the moment, and being open to changing that at any time. Good. Completing your last cycle. And then once you come through neutral, we'll switch sides. So the left knee is going to go into Baddha Konasana, and the right leg is going to bend, bringing the foot towards the outer hip. Sitting up nice and tall. And then right hand comes down, inhale, leaning over to the right with your left arm. And then coming all the way up, left hand comes down, press into the legs, inhale, reach the right arm up and back, lifting the hips. And carrying on there, syncing your breath with your movement. This is another great one to relieve any sort of tension or stagnation in the lower back. And even the sides of the body, I find, can feel really compressed and tight as your baby and your belly grow. So it's a nice way to open up the side body, which then deepens our capacity for breath. Get another round or two just like that. And then once you complete your next cycle, we'll come back through center. And from there you can lean forward and find your way into tabletop on hands and knees. So I like to take a little bit of a longer stance here as the belly grows, just to give yourself more room. And we'll start with a few cat-cows, but rather than staying neutral or still through the arms and the legs, you can find a little bit more of a rocking or a rolling action here. So as you inhale through cow, you can kind of lean forward towards the hands. And as you exhale through cat, you can rock back towards your hips and towards your feet. And then inhale, rolling forward. And exhaling to round. And as always, finding a pace that works for you today. And in any of these movements, if you find a spot that feels good to hang out in and breathe and invite some other movements into that area, take the time to do that. Completing one more inhale and exhale. And then finding neutral, tabletop. We're going to do some circles here in our hips. So go ahead and rock your hips over to one side. And then inhale them forward. Almost as if you were coming towards cobra. And exhale all the way around. So you only want to go as far forward and backwards where you're not putting too much strain or pressure or work on the abdomen, but just inviting some circular movements into the pelvis. Increasing that circulation in the lower spine. Okay, and then we'll reverse directions. So moving the other way. And then find your way back through neutral, tabletop. And this time we're going to take more side to side barrel type movements in the spine. So exhale, come through like a cat posture. And then you're going to rock your ribs over to one side. And then scoop them down towards the ground and over to the opposite side. Coming back up, rounding through cow. So I often like to think of like almost like you're clearing out your favorite nut butter in the jar. So you're scooping all sides of the jar. Getting into all those nooks and crannies through the side, the back, and the front of your torso. Do one more round in this direction. And then reverse directions. And just like in our seated Sufi grinds, it's natural for the hips, the shoulders, even the head and the neck to become involved in the movement. And then wrapping that up, coming through neutral. And then we're going to take a little bit of a flowing thread the needle posture. So we'll start with the left hand down, circle the right arm up to the sky, and then you're going to exhale, scoop it through. Don't rest your shoulder, but just draw the hand through, and then inhale again, circle the arm up. Good, exhale, scoop it down and through, and inhale to bring it up. We'll do 3 more like that, so 5 total. Good, and once you complete your 5th, come back through tabletop. This time the right hand stays down, inhale the left arm up, and exhale to scoop it through. So again, you have 5. Syncing your breath with your movement. Inhales to open, Exhales to contract. Good, and then coming through tabletop. Curling my toes if they're not already. And then we'll exhale, find a downward facing dog. And once you get into downward dog again, any freestyle movement here is totally welcome, whether that's pedaling out the legs, coming onto tippy toes and reaching through your heels. You can even gently sway or rock side to side in your hips. But just taking a few moments here to find the stretch of your dog. You may need to take a wider stance in your legs. So honoring whatever it is that your body is asking for right now. And then from here, let's inhale to look forward, and we'll step the right foot forward between the hands. And then get nice and long through your lunge and bring your back knee down. From here, I'm going to take both hands to the inside of my right leg, walking the right leg out just a touch. I'm also going to grab my blocks because I like the extra height and extension. And then from here, we're just going to take circles in the hips. So lean your hip back and draw it around. And we'll do 3 to 5 in one direction. Try to keep the whole sole of your foot rooted towards the earth as much as you can. And then switch the direction that you're moving. And we'll take roughly the same amount of circles in that direction. Great. And then coming back for your lunge. Releasing the blocks if you're using them. Lift your back knee and press back, downward facing dog. Inhale to look forward. We'll step the left foot all the way forward. Again, you can walk it over to the left if you'd like. Back knee comes down. Then maybe grab your blocks. And then as you sink your hips and lift your heart, from here you're going to circle the front hip. I like to keep my back toes curled just for some extra stability. But as always, feel into what your body says is feeling best today. And you have about 3 to 5 circles in this direction. And then when you're ready, you're going to reverse, moving the other way. And wrapping that direction up. You have your blocks, moving them forward. And once again, finding downward facing dog. And it may feel really nice here to let out an audible sigh on your exhale, especially after we kind of move and stir and shake things up. And inhale to look forward for pigeon. So you're going to bring your right knee forward towards your right wrist, and your back knee can come down. So if you have any props, it can be nice to have them. I'm going to have my bolster just to give myself some extra height. To start, let's inhale, lift the upper body. And even here, I like to kind of just rock, sway. And it can be a little bit more of a passive pigeon. But once you find somewhat of a neutral position in your pelvis, you can either choose to stay up here, or if you'd like to fold, however much you comfortably can right now, that is also an option. And it doesn't have to be still and stagnant. You can invite a little bit of gentle movement here. And even if it's so subtle that it's more of an inner movement through breath, or if you're playing with really gentle micro movements, maybe of your right hip drawing back and your left femur and front of the hip drawing forward and down. We have about 3 to 5 rounds of breath. And even as you settle into the posture, especially if you are finding a bit of stillness through the body, just imagining the ebb and the flow and the wave of your breath, gently rocking and soothing the baby. Taking one more exhale here. And with your next inhale, if you're folded forward, we'll start to make our way up. And once again, finding your downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths there, maybe pedaling it out. You can even kind of figure 8 through your hips. And then when you're ready, we'll look forward and find pigeon pose on the opposite side. So left leg drawing forward, right leg reaching back. And take a breath or two, lifting the spine. maybe finding some subtle movements here. And then when you're ready, if you did so on the other side and you'd like to balance that on this side and fold forward, making your way there. And again, it doesn't have to be super still. I'm personally rocking very gently through my pelvis. Especially if you're a little bit tighter, I find it can offer a bit of relief. Before fully settling in. Or maybe you're more grounded in the pelvis and finding a gentle sway through the upper body. Or if you've dropped into stillness in the physical body, just feeling the natural flow of your breath and how this movement of your breath, the sound of your breath, which then also influences the beat of your heart, how all of these things provide a soothing comfort to your baby. And that even after they come out, some of these same movements and sensations of your breathing and the pace of your heart beating continues to offer a sense of safety and security for your baby. Even helps to regulate their breathing and their heart rate and their nervous system. And taking a full cycle of breath here. And with your next inhale, slowly rise. And finding your way once again into downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here, again, maybe an audible sigh with your exhale, maybe a pedaling of the feet or a swaying of the hips, or maybe a really sweet stillness. Knowing that even when things appear still, almost like a spinning top, there is always so much movement and life happening underneath. And from here, you're going to walk the hands back towards your feet. Widen your stance to create space for your belly and your baby. And then we'll fold forward. And as you fold forward here, gently sway the hips from left to right. And then coming through neutral, Slightly bend through your knees. And one at a time, rolling all the way up, stacking each vertebra. And finding a standing posture. And then we'll come to the middle of your mat. Take a nice wide stance. Bring your hands to your hips. And then we're just gonna sway. So you can kind of do dips and sway. You could also take figure eights in your hips. But finding a sense of fluid movement. Another one I like to do is bending the knees and kind of swaying here, hands on the thighs, hands on the knees. I even like to go super wide in the feet, toes slightly in, heels slightly out, and even kind of lean into the center, dropping one shoulder in. Moving to the other side. But really just a few moments to explore just a freedom of movement, but keep it flowing, keep it moving, keep it fluid, creating a little inner dance. In any way that feels good. You can do a little bit of everything. Even do some side body stretches. And just know that there's no right or wrong way to move. And if you do this practice more than once, it may look different each time. You can even bring your hands to your belly and gently rock your baby as you sway through your hips, or even rub the belly and create some movement through gentle touch. Good. So whatever you're doing, just make sure you're balancing it from side to side. And we'll start to wrap it up. And then just take a moment here, finding Tadasana. And again, feel into this underlying movement that's always there. The flow and the circulation that is coursing through your body to your baby. And this pulse of life that moves between the inner and the outer world. We'll inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale to lengthen halfway. And then exhale, you're going to come down onto your hands and knees again. I'm going to turn to face you, so this is easier to see. You're going to come up onto your knees. So we're going to take like a gate pose posture. It actually might be easier to come onto your hands to do this, especially if you're further along. Let's extend the right leg all the way out. Toes are pointing forward. And then from here, let's bring the left hand slightly more towards the center. And we're going to circle the arms. So you're going to inhale, reach your arm forward, your right arm forward. And exhale, open it up and reach back. And all the way around. So nice big circles with the arm. Inhale, reach it forward and up. And exhale, back and around. do 2 more. You can even follow your gaze, or follow your hand with your gaze rather. And then once you complete that second cycle, we're going to come down onto the forearms. So you're going to keep the posture of the legs, but taking more of like a puppy pose in your upper body. Letting your spine hammock towards the ground. Leaning slightly forward like this is a great way to bring the heaviest part of the baby, the back of the skull, and their spine forward towards the front of your belly. Which can be a more optimal position as you get closer to your birthing time. You're completing one more full cycle of breath here. And then we'll inhale to come up and bring the right knee in. And we'll draw the left leg out to the side. So again, toes are pointing forward. Pinky edge of the foot reaches towards your mat. We'll inhale, lengthen through the spine. Right hand can come slightly in towards the center. And then inhale, reach the left arm forward. Circle it all the way up, opening back. We have 5 circles like that. Inhale to reach it forward, get nice and long. And exhale to come around. Completing your 5th circle. And then once you do, you'll come back onto hands. And then make your way to your elbows. Melting the head and the heart towards the ground. And one more full inhale and long, complete exhale. Inhale to slowly rise up, bringing your left knee back to tabletop. And then finding a seat. And from there, we're going to make our way into Shavasana. So if you're still comfortable on your back, you're welcome to take traditional Shavasana reclined. You can also use a bolster or a pillow to support the backs of the knees and the legs, or you could even put it long ways and take more of an elevated Shavasana, supporting the spine. I'm pretty far along into my third trimester, so it feels a little bit better for me to lie on my side. So if you're going to do that with me, you're going to take Shavasana on your left side. And then if you have a pillow or a bolster, you want to just support the knees and the ankles, ideally here. So rest that between the legs so that both hip, knee and ankle joints are supported. You can use your left arm as a pillow. Your right hand, you can either rest on the ground, your side, or if you'd like to take your hand to your baby, you can do that as well. Closing the eyes and settling into final rest. And as you rest here, just observing the natural flow of your breath, just as we did to begin the practice. And of course, if you have the time, I encourage you to take as long and delicious of a Shavasana as you can. If you are ready to complete your practice, begin deepening your breath as a way to signal to the body that you are transitioning. And using your hands to support you as you make your way up towards a comfortable seat. Maybe even coming to sit up on your bolster or your pillow. Once you make your way up to a seat, let's close again by just bringing your hands to your baby, to your belly, and just holding it in a way that really brings a sense of, I've got you. We're here in this together. And calling in one more time your blessing or your wish or your intention, message to your baby, maybe even to yourself. And my wish for you is that you continue to honor the flow that comes through this time. There's so many changes happening within that it can be quite the ride, and so may you dance with as much ease and grace as possible throughout the rest of your journey of pregnancy and all the way into your labor and your birth experience for both you and your baby. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.